Anna Abrikosova was a Russian Greek Catholic religious sister who died after a decade of solitary confinement. She was born in Russia in 1882. Her family were factory owners who were the official suppliers of chocolate to the Russian imperial court. Her mother died after giving birth to her, and her father died of consumption just 9 days later. Anna and her brothers were raised by their aunt and uncle. They grew up in a carefree and loving home. Her brother Dmitri would grow up to become a successful diplomat, and her brother Alexei became a famous pathologist who was actually the person who embalmed Lenin's body. As a teenager, Anna developed left-wing socialist beliefs. She moved to England to study, and people who knew her remembered her as a brilliant and strong-willed woman. She had many suitors, but to her family's shock, she fell in love with her foppish cousin Vladimir. Her brother Dmitri later said, "When she wrote to me about her feelings, I was horrified and promptly warned her that it was madness. I even wrote to my uncle asking him to stop this nonsense, but with his usual philosophy, he replied that it was a law of nature for strong characters to be attracted to weaklings." Vladimir and Anna lived in Western Europe during the early years of their marriage. They were both free thinkers and they didn't really believe in God. As a young woman, Anna always struggled with depression. One day, she read Saint Catherine of Siena's dialogues and it had a great impact on her. She decided to convert from Russian Orthodoxy to Catholicism. Vladimir initially resisted her conversion, but he himself would convert to Catholicism a year later. The two returned to Russia and began a campaign of discreet evangelization. They became leading figures in the underground Russian Greek Catholic community. Vladimir and Anna took a vow of chastity. Because they were cousins, their marriage was dissolved, and in 1917, Vladimir was ordained to the priesthood and Anna took vows as a Dominican sister. Anna took the religious name Ekaterína after Saint Catherine of Siena. She founded a Byzantine Catholic Dominican community, and sisters who joined the community joined her in offering themselves up for the salvation of the Russian people. Indeed, it was a dangerous time to be a Catholic in Russia, as the revolution forced them to remain underground. Anna led the sisters in secretly translating Catholic books into the Russian language, as well as running a secret Catholic school, even though they knew they were under surveillance. Vladimir was arrested in 1922 and exiled from the country, leaving on a ship full of other intellectuals known as a philosopher's ship. Anna wrote to him and said, "In Russia, Christ now wants only those who walk toward a complete sacrifice of themselves, so it seems to me that this is not a time for taking any kind of precautions, only a time for generosity and holiness, and above all for sacrifice and humility. Obedience until our death on the cross, together with humility, these are the two virtues I preach." In November 1923, Anna and 9 of her fellow sisters were arrested. Anna was charged with leading a counter-revolutionary organization and sentenced to 10 years imprisonment. On her way to begin her sentence, she told one of her fellow sisters, "Most likely, each of you, having fallen in love with God and now following Him, has asked more than once in your heart that the Lord give you the opportunity to share in His sufferings. That moment has arrived. Your wish to suffer for His sake has now been fulfilled." She was imprisoned in solitary confinement from 1924 to 1932. During her incarceration, she was diagnosed with breast cancer and underwent an operation that left her without use of her left arm. Ekaterína Peshkova, the wife of Maxim Gorky, petitioned Joseph Stalin to release Anna due to her illness. Anna was released, and the first thing she did upon gaining her freedom was to find a church to go into to pray. Her brother Dmitri said, "Nothing was heard about her for 9 years, and even my eldest brother, who worked for the Soviets and became a prominent scientist, could do nothing for her. Then she reappeared in Moscow. Relatives who saw her wrote to my aunt in Paris that she gave the impression of a saint." Despite knowing that she could be rearrested, she sought out her surviving sisters to begin working with them once again. She was rearrested the following year and charged with forming a terrorist organization. One of her fellow sisters said, "Anna Abrikosova is a person most dedicated to her work. She is intelligent, well-read, and a person who follows politics. She has a firm, unbending will that enabled her to endure 9 years of solitary confinement and a serious surgery. She will go to all lengths for the sake of her goal. She is an organizer and a leader by nature. Having sat in prisons from 1924 to 1932, she emerged full of strength and energy and once again set about her work. Because she returned to her work, she was imprisoned once again. In prison, she developed spinal cancer and died on July 23, 1936, after cumulatively spending over a decade in solitary confinement. She was 54 years old. Her brother said, "Till her last moments, she never thought of herself, and tried to help and support by her faith other unfortunate prisoners. Such is the fate of this remarkable woman. When I was in Japan, some Catholic told me that he had read in a Catholic magazine that the Church was collecting all data on her life with a view to possibly consecrating her as a saint of the Catholic Church. Who could have believed all this possible, had anyone prophesied it? My sister herself would have called it the dream of a madman." Vladimir survived Anna by decades. He lived in exile in solitude until he died at the age of 85. The sisters continued their work after Anna's death, inspired by her example. Anna and her fellow sisters were hailed as heroes by Catholics all over the world. In 2003, Anna's sainthood cause was opened, and she is currently on the path to sainthood.